Hey everybody, this is a response reaction type video to Mayowa's world. It is a response to the video The Masculinization of Cynthia Erivo. If you don't know, she's talking about the movie Wicked and like the relationship that Cynthia and Arianna has and how a lot of people are portraying her in a masculine way. So let's start the video.
Because it makes them, by contrast, look more feminine and it helps their image, right? Like, I feel like Arianna being around somebody like Cynthia helps her image as somebody who was doing black scents and Latina fishing and all these other races that she was collecting through the years. It makes her look more feminine by having Cynthia around, you know? And I just think it's interesting too when you want to have conversations around
She has been
friendships,
doing that.
because I don't feel like
If you know Ariana Grande, and if you watch Mayo's World videos, a lot of things that she says sounds valid. So Ariana has kind of dipped in and out of races. So remember when she kind of had on like a black, appearance, not physically, but in her demeanor, the way she's acting, the way she's speaking. So now, if you watch, when you continue to watch the video, you'll see how she's now in her white era, and Mayowa will kind of mention it in a little bit.
she has advocated for Cynthia in the same way that Cynthia has advocated for Arianna. A very protective friend, a very loyal friend. And if she was a white woman doing that same thing, people would see that as a very honorable way to be, right? But because she's a dark-skinned woman, because she's a black woman, that same trait of loyalty, that same trait of protectiveness is demonized. It's seen.
Have you guys seen any negative things about Amanda Seyfried and what's her name? They just said whatever the other girl's name is. But yeah, are they demonizing their relationship? Do they see that the same way they see Cynthia and Ariana? And like you see now, like look how they have a man playing Cynthia. Like why do you have a man playing Cynthia? Why not another woman? And to me, if you're gonna point out people acting strange or different, okay, isn't isn't Ariana acting different as well too for what she used to be? And so it makes you think like, why are they portraying her like that? Like, why do they see her as a masculine figure? Like what has she done to show that she's masculine?
As possessive, as seen as almost like there's mentally something wrong with her that makes her obsessed with Ariana. Because deep inside, people believe that dark-skinned women are deeply jealous of white women.
And so look at this picture. I mean, why the character? Why paint her out like this? Like what makes you think and and you're painting her in a way and she doesn't even, this is not even her physically, but this is how you see her mentally. Do you see this? You can appear some way physically. She's not a big person, but mentally you see her as this kind of like bodybuilder type person or whatever you want to call it.
Light-skinned women and biracial women. So they have to paint this as an obsession instead of it being a friendship. But today I want to talk about the masculization of Cynthia Erivo. So I'm sure we've been seeing a lot of press around Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande with the film Wicked. And because they're coming out with the second part to the movie. And
sorry guys, I don't know, when I was clipping the video, I moved some things around, so it's kind of out of order. So sorry about that.
Media and the way I've seen the media treat Cynthia has been very, very appalling and really linked to colorism. And I haven't really seen people talk about how colorism is playing a role within this whole thing. Something that I've learned through being a femme is that people would rather see a dark-skinned woman like Cynthia Erivo as a stud before they'll see her as a femme. So within the queer community, a femme is somebody who presents as a feminine person, as, just, yeah, like femme, like it's in the word. And I feel like people are very quick to want to masculinize Cynthia because she's a dark-skinned woman, and she's a dark-skinned woman who is bald. And even when you look at the illustrations of Cynthia Erivo in comparison to Ariana Grande, they draw her.
And that's one of the things when it comes to physical appearance. I think this is why a lot of like a black woman really won't want to be bald because or have really short hair because they masculinize you if you do.
like this very henched big person, and Ariana Grande, like she's this really tiny petite person, and these are rooted in colorism. So colorism is the discrimination of dark-skinned people, and the way that it affects women is that it makes you feel like they are more masculine because dark skin is seen as a masculine thing. And there's also a hyper representation of dark-skinned men in media, so people just have come to the place where they associate being dark-skinned with being masculine. Cynthia and Ariana have a very close relationship, and it looks like, you know, Cynthia is a very caring person, and people have really taken that form of care and a form of friendship and really twisted it in a way that is very disgusting to masculinize Cynthia Erivo. So here are some.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to?
I think that Cynthia is moving from a place of like, she never had people stand up for her. So she moves through the world as how she wishes she was treated. You know, like.
And if Ariana was uncomfortable, my thing is like, wouldn't she say something? And my question is, where are the bodyguards? Like, wouldn't you have a bodyguard always near you when you go into these places, like interviewing and stuff? Because, like, you know, there are crazy fans. You know, anything can happen. I'm surprised I don't see bodyguards. That's one thing I'm questioning.
You can tell that Cynthia's had to be a very strong person who has had to advocate for herself, and she does the same for friends. She seems like a very protective friend, a very loyal friend. And if she was a white woman doing that same thing, people would see that as a very honorable way to show up. Like if you're a protective person by nature, if you're someone who is very caring by nature, you need to be very, very intentional with how you show your care. And that's something that I learned through the years. Because I was often in situations where I was caring more than the person who I'm fighting for. And another thing,
and I've heard this too, with darker skinned women or someone who's like maybe heavier, that you kind of play the role as like the bodyguard, the protector, like you're the animal, the guard dog. Has anybody ever felt like that? Like with the friendship, if you've been friends with somebody of another race or lighter complexion.
That also pissed me off about this. Sorry, one thing that pissed me off about this clip of, and it just shows you the hyper vigilance that.
And what she was saying with this one, I had cut this part out because I was a little concerned with having the whole like video up. I didn't want to get like in trouble for it. But anyways, she was talking about Michelle Yu, how she was a trained martial artist, and she didn't do anything. And so the only person that does anything is the black woman, and she gets demonized for it.
Black women have. And I think it's interesting when we talk about the weight loss between Ariana and Cynthia, who have both appeared to have lost a lot of weight in these former years. Yeah. It seems as if when we talk about Ariana's weight loss, it's through this lens of like fragility and like we don't know what she's going through and she's so tiny. True. And even though Cynthia has also lost just as much weight, she is still framed as a very henched, big.
And this is one thing too that I know. She points out so many things that you don't notice or that you may overlook. But when she talked about Ariana's weight loss, I saw it too. Like I don't really follow like celebrities, but you know, sometimes you see things on social media and I noticed that she had lost weight. She was already kind of small. And I'm like, oh wow, she kind of lost a lot of weight there. And for her, it's concern, it's compassion. It's like, oh, is she okay? Is she going through anything? But Cynthia loses weight. She's small. Like she's not that much bigger than Ariana. She's just probably more toned. But she's not that much bigger. But where was the concern for Cynthia to say, oh, she lost weight? Is she okay? You know, but like she mentioned, they're shaming Cynthia in a negative way. But they haven't done Ariana like that. So it makes you think, well, why are they doing Cynthia that way? They're both females. They're both petite. So they're short. They probably don't weigh much. But you talk about Cynthia as she's a man. And then when you look at it, you think, oh, Cynthia's a black woman. So you look and you try to find a difference and to try to figure out, well, what's the issue? Why would you, have concern for one and not the other? They're both women. And when it comes down to it, I think it's what she said. It's colorism. It plays down to colorism, and it's sad because you hate that it has to be that way, and nobody's really advocating for her. Nobody on the you know I guess on the team or on whoever played in Wicked.
Person. And these illustrations draw Cynthia as a very tall and big person, when in actuality, Cynthia is a very small and short person. And something else that reminds me of this is I saw a clip of Doechii next to Pink Pantheress, and
in Mayowa, she always brings her receipts. I feel like most of her points. I won't say 100%. But I found the majority of her videos that the things that she's presenting, the evidence, the receipts, to be valid and right. It's like now what you're looking at, how they thought Doechii was. I thought Doechii was tall. Why did you think she was tall? When I think of women, I always think of women being short. I don't like. What do you all think? When I think of a woman, I always think of short. When I think of men, I think of tallness. So, what made you think Doechii was tall?
in the clip, you can tell that Doechii is a very small, short.
I don't like this. I thought Pink Panthers was short and Doechii was tall. This being backwards is throwing off my equilibrium. And it's like, well, why did you think Pink Panthers was short? Because she's lighter complexion and you associate lighter complexion with femininity, and of course you associate shortness with femininity. But it shows how so many people are colorists, featurists, texturists, and some people are this and don't even realize it. This is how, like, I want to be awoke in my subconscious so I can see these things.
Short person, and Pink Panthers is a very tall person, and the comments were filled with people being like, oh, I didn't expect Doechii to be so little. Like, in my mind, I thought Doechii was going to be a lot taller than Pink Panthers. And I feel like even though people were just like, it seemed innocent, I still think that's rooted in colorism, because I feel like people just assume Doechii to be big because she has a big personality online, because she's a dark-skinned person, she's a great performer. I think people thought she'd be big. And like, as you know, I am someone who, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm dark-skinned and I'm 6 feet tall. So I feel like there's a certain masculinization that happens when you're tall and you're dark-skinned. But it's interesting how like short people, small people like Cynthia, who is even shorter than Arianna, when they draw illustrations of how they see her as this big, henched, strong, masculine woman. And there have been so many guys that were also adding along and making fun of Cynthia, and it was always men playing Cynthia.
And this is the worst, when you have a male to make fun of a female. I just, to me, that's low. For you to be a man and you to talk about a woman and call her a man and stuff. I don't know what to say about your mental state when you do that. Like what kind of person are you mentally for you to attack a woman? It's like a man wanting to fight a woman. Like why would you do that?
Cynthia. And I think in this one clip specifically, it is so interesting that it is a dark-skinned man playing Cynthia and a light-skinned woman playing Arianna. People just see you as a very strong person. And I saw an interview with a reporter where he was asking Cynthia,
I did not like
why
reporter.
is she so, like, kind of alluding to the fact that she's henched.
Last question. When did you know you were tough? You're tough.
Am I?
I think so.
I mean, I think I'm strong.
Tough and strong?
I think I'm strong. I think I'm vulnerable. I think I'm a myriad of different things.
Like a protector, too? You're tough. You're tough. You're a tough person. You're strong.
Well, I think I'm strong, and I think I also can be protected too. Awesome. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think we can be both. I think it's okay for us to be both strong, protected, and protected.
Notice how she said vulnerable and protected. So that, to me, that's playing into her feminine, in her being a woman, in her being feminine. Yes, I'm vulnerable too, but I also need to be protected. And he kept saying, "You're strong, you're strong." When did you know you're strong, strong, strong? It felt very pushy. To me, if I was her, I would have said, why do you assume I'm strong? Like, why do you keep pushing this question? You're being very pushy. I don't feel comfortable. I probably would have played like an innocent victim. I don't understand why he kept asking that. Like, why did you keep pushing it on her? I guess so she can admit to it and fulfill the stereotypes that they have on her. But yeah, he was no. I think she did a good job with her interview, but I think I would have sort of like ended it.
Detective. That's okay.
You're great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
She handled it very well, and she was, once again trying to bring people back to realize that she's a human being and that she's also worthy of protection. She's also worthy of love. But, the interviewer just wanted to kind of fuel the fire, and it just shows you how a lot of these online discussions have real life repercussions, because you're now seeing this person who also deserves to be looked at with the same level of concern as Arianna in terms of how skinny she's got. But even with how skinny she's got, you're still seeing her as a very masculine and strong and hinged person. And when we talk about queerness as well, and we talk about how Cynthia is a femme person, but how she is often like people want to see her as a stud or a masculine person, I thought it was interesting when people would make these not really who she is. Like, it looks like she's playing a role, because we've had many, many years of her presenting with these long nails and gowns and dresses and being somebody who we would consider femme. But it's so interesting that people were more excited to see her as a masculine person than to see her as a feminine person. And I think this is also something that I've struggled with or had, conversations about growing up, because I don't know about y'all, let me know if you all ever experienced this, but as a dark-skinned person who's also tall and femme, I think I feared being perceived as masculine. For a good amount of years of my life, my worst fear was somebody saying I look like a man or I act like a man or I wasn't feminine. So I feel like I tried to be hyper feminine and
oh my gosh, I found this to be so true. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, as a female, I think you do kind of have a bit of a fear of getting masculinized. I don't know if women of other races do, but as a black woman, yeah, you kind of get hesitant at dressing a certain way, sounding a certain way, looking a certain way, because you don't want to get confused for a man. I've seen these videos where, okay, like the natural hair movement, where women have gone natural and wore their natural hair, and people say you look like a man. Why does she look like a man now? Because she has her natural hair. So it's kind of like confirming that you can't be yourself because people are going to compare you to a man. I've seen women who will do these sort of natural hairstyles, so like twists or like braids or something, and they'll be shorter. And a woman on YouTube commented, and she said, somebody said I look like a man. So people will constantly say you like a man. Why? I don't get it. Just because her hair is short or texture, she looks like a man because it's not long. This is what gets me, and it does instill fear in you, and it's like it's like you can't be yourself, and you feel like you can't have a day off. So like she's gonna mention about having like baggy clothes on, like maybe you want to wear some sweatpants, but then you second guess yourself because it's like, well, I don't want nobody calling me a man or mistaking me for a man. And I think is why a lot of women are hyper feminine. You see like the extra long hair, the extra long nails, the excessive makeup. And I think they do it because they want to confirm to people that, hey, I'm a female.
That's why I was always wearing weaves and wigs and straight hair and heels.
Yep, because that's what's seen as feminine. And with hair texture, if she's wearing this long type 2 hair, type 1 hair wig, she's seen as feminine. And I think that's why a lot of black women put these wigs on, because it looks more feminine, and they probably feel like men see it as more feminine. Because when the women, I'm sorry, that I watched, who wore their natural hair, they got a liken to a man. So why would you want to like be yourself? Why would you want to be your natural self if people are going to call you a man? Like, what woman wants to be compared to a man?
Like, I literally
and I'm gonna finish this statement. and finish playing the video. But yeah, this is why so many people don't want to be themselves or don't want to be in, I guess, the body that God gave them, because it's like it's not acceptable.
Got tendonitis in my ankle because I would wear heels every single day and I would walk like 5 miles to go to work. And so I was always, fearful of wearing baggy pants or fearful of wearing a baggy shirt and being seen as masked because I felt like my identity as a femme was something that was so easily stripped away from me. And it wasn't until I started to really unpack gender.
Yep. And you can strip somebody's identity with your words. Like, then you start to question yourself. Like, do I dress girly enough? Like, maybe I should wear brighter clothes.
That I realized that you saying, if you say I look like a man, like, okay, like, I don't.
Yep. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start being like that. If somebody ever said, I'm going to say great. Like she said, great, fantastic.
Like it started to actually genuinely not worry me, but I do feel a lot of dark-skinned people don't feel like dark-skinned femmes feel like they can't explore their gender like other groups can simply because of how easy it is to be masculinized, and how and how masculinization also can lead to unsafety, right? Like when people see you as a masked person, they're going to treat you as such. They're going to treat you with roughness. They're going to treat you with toughness. That is stripping of your humanity. So I want to talk about how Arianna also plays a role into this entire thing as well, because Arianna in 2025 has now decided to be a white woman. But if y'all have been seeing Arianna back in the past, we know that she has hopped in and out of different races throughout her career. She, so because she, and right now in her whiteness, she's in her super ultra whiteness bag.
I wonder if Cynthia could do the same. Like I watched Wicked 2. I didn't watch the original one, but I watched Wicked 2 yesterday, and it was good. And Cynthia can sing. She's a good singer. I wonder if she could like dip in and out of like what Ariana's been doing. Because if you know her and you've seen the different ways she's been acting, like different personalities, and I know people change over time, but it's just it is a little bit comical to me. Not throwing shade at any of them, but it is a bit comical.
Slightly kind of like K-pop-ish a little bit, but she really, like the way she talks, like she very much wants to come off as...
She does. She's speaking very softly. She has this sort of surprise look a lot, like this deer in the headlights, like what's going on?
It's like soft and feminine. And it worked, and as you can tell through these memes, it's working because she always kind of seems as if she's a victim in every situation. Like in this one clip where this guy is shaking her hand, Cynthia is the one who kind of helps her with her boundaries, and Arianna is just kind of there being ragdolled. Do you know what I mean? And like often it's just like she doesn't seem like she defends herself, and I think the reason that she doesn't defend herself is because of how she sees femininity as like, I just know that people around me are going to step up. I sometimes feel like people like Arianna or white women or people who benefit from femininity in a way where it's not like colorism, skin femme, that you're going to be almost like a guard dog or a protector to whiteness, to lightness, to anybody who benefits more than you. And it's not even just within complexion. I also realize it's also within weight. I think sometimes people feel like fat women are more of a protector or more of defenders than skinny women.
Like they don't need to be protected.
Having somebody who's fat in proximity to you, you can be allowed to be like the skinny person who's just like, I don't know, like doing nothing. And it's so important to be aware of your friends' intersections and how you will step up in those moments when they're feeling unsafe. Because I thought it was when Arianna was being called a man and them things was getting 100,000 likes, 30,000 likes, so much engagement. I didn't see her in the comments defending Cynthia.
And this is, I found this to be true. So if Cynthia can be like 5-something feet tall, she looks like she's not even 120. And if she can dress in a feminine way and get called a man, it's like, what does it mean for everybody else that's regular? If she's a man, then what does that mean? And think about the other woman who, like Olandria, when they called her a man. If they call her man, what does that mean for the regular black girls like me and you? The regular black woman. And I just think is it just because she's a black woman? Why is she a man?
I didn't see her. I haven't seen any clip of Arianna looking like she's defending Cynthia in real time. So for myself, like one rule I've done is that if I don't feel like you're going to be protective towards me, I'm not going to be protective towards you, especially if
That's
you
fair.
are someone who society sees
Yeah.
as worthy
You
of
benefit from
protection,
something else that
like an
I don't.
Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is a skinny, frail white woman. Society will always defend somebody like an Ariana Grande. So she's not going to be short of people who will be very caring towards her. And you can tell it once again when we talk about the weight loss between both of them and how one is seen as like, this could be a problem. We have to be very careful. We can't criticize Ariana's body, but y'all criticize Cynthia's body by making her seem like she's a bodybuilder. Y'all criticize Cynthia's body like making her seem like she's a man by telling her she's not feminine. But that is like misogynoir and making fun of black.
And I'm not saying Ariana hasn't got criticized, but it's the way it's being done. It's one way to say, oh, if you were picking at her weight loss and say she looks, she looks bad or she looks a certain way, but then it's another thing to criticize somebody else and compare them to another gender and just in a demonizing way, like she's mentioned. And when you benefit from something else, like stand up stand up, for somebody else. You benefit from a system that favors you, and the system is like sort of criticizing her, being unfair to her. Okay, stand up, like speak up.
Women's body, that's fine. That is cool when you do that. When you do it to a white woman, it's body shaming. I don't want to be the friend who people.
Has anything come out to kind of say, hey, you know, the star of Wicked has been body shamed, and let's talk to her about why they've been body shaming her, why they've been criticizing her. I don't think there's been anything in anywhere to like defend her or defend any other woman that it's been happening to, like Olandria. Maybe she's had an interview or something about it, but I don't know.
See me as the bodyguard of the friend group, and that's why I only hang out with people who can protect and fight and defend at the same level as me. When you see me going out with people, everybody I'm around with is going to be able to defend me as much as I'll defend them. So it's not an imbalance of me doing more than someone else. And that's kind of like what I need at this point of my life. And I just kind of wish that Cynthia's marketing was more towards being around Black women and being in spaces with other Black women who will see her as a whole human being. Because I feel like how she's positioned with Ariana is like she is the mammy, she is the help, she is the care for Ariana, she is the masculine person for Ariana to be feminine. And I really hate that. And I really don't like how, in my mind, one of the best ways to feel more protected, to feel more cared for, is to be around people who also have the same kind of shared experiences as you and protectors. Because
Okay, so yeah, you have to be around people who, like you said, have shared experience with you, but not only that, people who are like awoke to this, people who understand that colorism, featurism, texturism exists, and somebody that's going to, like you said, like take up for you, like somebody who's going to have your back. Like for her to say, if Cynthia were to say something, she would probably get dismissed. So we need other people to say something. And like she mentioned, you already benefit from this system. So she's wondering, like, why haven't you spoken up? Like, why haven't you said anything? And I I love watching her content. Everything that you watch and that you see from her, it's like, oh my, she sounds so valid. She always brings her receipts, and she's proving. Sometimes you see things and you try to say, well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe that wasn't the reason. And you keep watching, and you keep. I like, for instance, I love it when you watch something like this from Mayowa's world and you see it in the world, and it's like this the exact thing that she was talking about. Like lighter skin is deemed as more feminine. With especially in the black community, looser hair curls. Like I was watching a TV show on Netflix, happening watching Little House on the Prairie, and there's I guess you call them a potential couple, The man is dark skinned, and the woman is a lighter complexion, but sort of you can tell her it's kind of a looser texture, and it's kind of like, oh, she's right again. There it goes. And for me, I've told myself if I start seeing like if I hear music, movies, TV shows, if I see a bunch of colorism, featurism, texturism, I'm just not gonna watch it anymore because this stuff gets into your subconscious. And look at how they're doing her. And I don't see her as a bad person. Like, has she done something evil to like to deserve this? And it makes you think, what are the children gonna think if children see this type of stuff? How in their young minds can they like filter this stuff out to know that this is right, this is wrong? So that's it for today, guys. Tell me what you think. Have you experienced like colorism, featurism, texturism? Like, what are your views on this? Thanks for listening. And guys, sorry about the avatar. I don't have it right yet, but thanks for listening.